So in the same way that I worked on the previous track that I've shown, where I laid out different elements here on the fader board, another project that I worked on recently was very easy. I think that I started basically from browsing a few presets. A Roland plugin, SRX dance tracks. So this is full of 90s kind of stabs and synthesizers, bass lines and drums, and very inspirational sounds. I was just going through some different presets. Like, oh wow, that's cool. And then some crazy stuff. I mean, yeah, so I found this sound and I was like, wow. It's got a very nice, there's a lot in this sound already. It's like a chord stab, so, and there's a bit of delay and there's a bit of everything. So it's very inspirational to start just playing a couple of notes, you know, like a little rhythm basically. And I was like, oh, this sounds good. I was like, let's just record it. And that's basically the beginning of the track. The first element is here. I think this is already perfect. Just add a kick. I would then move on to add a few elements. It's great to have the basis, and then you just want to make it a bit more rich. You would like to have more elements to play with. And in this case, I was going through the same instance of dance tracks, and I found a different part. To go with that. And then another one, also from the same amazing synthesizer. Bring back in the kick. So I found this other sound, which also has a very iconic kind of clubby 90s vibe. And I think it goes really well together with the other stab. So I'm going to try to find a rhythm that works well. Should be something that is not on top of the other element, but that goes in a conversation with the first stab that we created. So in the end, I came up with this one. So there's the hi-hats. I brought back in the 909, which we've seen already, and started writing some very, very basic techno hi-hat sounds. So I think this sounds like a track I could already play in my DJ set. It's got only 4 elements, 3 elements, not including the hi-hat and the kick, but sometimes that's really all you need. Of course, I wanted to go a bit further because I was actually trying to make a melodic techno track, and this, even though it has some melodies, is not that melodic. So I was looking for a pad sound, and I went into this new plugin from Roland, which just came out, which is a replica of the classic JD800, but then the digital version. Massive pad. It's just number 2 in the presets. It sounds absolutely amazing. Very fat sounding synthesizer. And then I'm trying to create a melody that works really well, a chord progression that works really well with the steps that we created. So speaking a little bit about music theory, I guess what I'm playing here, the main chord stab is in a D, but then the chord around it that my chord progression starts with is A minor. So you don't always have to stay within the notes of the A minor scale. And in this case, the D kind of goes against the A minor because there is no D in the A minor, of course, chords. But that is the beauty about music and about contemporary music. And in this case, sounds quite jazzy actually. You know, when you have the it's already as this is already an A minor 7 chord. And then using the D as the main stab creates a very interesting tension, and you kind of release that tension. So we already have a very rich amount of amazing parts that work really well together, because the stabs alone, together with the kick and the hi-hats, form a very solid foundation. And these pads, they bring in a very euphoric kind of vibe. An element that we can use in any part of the track. We can play the stabs just alone with the kick. We can add the pads to create the extra vibe, and then we can take away the stabs, for instance, and we have a very kind of ethereal, hollow sound, which in itself within the track can have a very interesting moment. Okay, let's see what we have so far. With a one-note melody like this, you have a lot of freedom to create anything around it, basically, as long as it goes really well together with that one note. And the tension between the chords that you write and that one note, the chords always put that one note in a different perspective, and that works really well in electronic music, where you have that one repetitive note in a certain rhythm, and the chords around it always give it a different vibe. In this chord progression, for instance, you can really hear that it starts off with two similar chords, and then it goes off it builds up higher, and then it goes up even higher, and then it goes down again, and then it goes back to the original chords. So you're really, within just a few bars, you're building up a lot of tension, and then it repeats again. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about electronic music, that you have this repetition is highly essential. But within the repetition, you can still create very interesting harmonies that in itself keep repeating. So I came up with another bit, which is a little chord progression with keys that works really well together with the pads. So again, here you hear notes that really fit well together, but at the beginning of the chord progression, they are a little bit like, okay, this sounds nice together, but it's just not fitting perfectly, and they're not the exact notes that fit really well together, and that's being released and resolved in the second part, where I believe this is a B flat major chord comes in. The beauty of making electronic music is that you can use as many instruments as you like. So I like this little part that I have here, and I think a piano could actually fit really well. So listening to this loop that we have now, which has even more elements, I think it can have another element. Let's bring in some strings. So that's strings. Why not bring in a piano? I think piano is a classical music instrument which has been used throughout the history of music the last 400 or 500 years. And I think can have a really nice place in this track. And I think the chord progression that I've written with the string parts is going to work really well together. I think we're pretty much there. The only thing that I have added during this process is some more texture. So I found a great preset in another Roland synthesizer. It's actually the same one that we've been using the whole time since the beginning. And it's this one. A great tool you can use these days called Splice. It's an online sample shop. You can buy any sample that you could ever want. And it has many great vocal samples. I usually take them from Splice. I take a little element, a small snippet. I never use a whole a cappella or something. But these samples can really bring a very human element to a track, and it's a bit like a cherry on the cake. So this vocal bit, it's just one note, it's very short little bit, but it puts everything, kind of glues together the whole track and brings in because many of the elements are constantly happening. Like the piano is constantly playing, and the keys and the pads, and this is like an anchor almost. So what we have together now is a lot of elements that we can use in our track. I haven't created any bass line yet, so I'm just going to take the chord progression and kind of see what fits together. Okay, let's take my favorite synthesizer plugin, the Juno. It has a chorus inside, and that creates a very warm sounding, fuzzy bass line, which is still very punchy. I love using that on many of my tracks. I've used it on Antigone, I believe. I think Rio also has the same bass line type sounds. The bass line that I created just goes really well together with the chord progression and puts a real good solid foundation underneath. And last but not least, another small little bass element. And then, of course, the last thing we haven't spoken about so much yet are the drums. Drums sometimes kind of kill the vibe, which is why I like to keep the drums very simple and minimal in this case. I've chosen kind of 9/9 type kick drum, together with some 9/9 percussion as well. So there you go, those are all the elements in the track. Let's see how it sounds all together. It might sound a bit crazy because it's a lot of elements. When I would arrange the track, I would take things in and out and try to give every element the space it needs in the mix basically and in the arrangements. But this is what it sounds like.